Race swapping seems to be a big deal when it comes to the media we consume, especially in America. Me personally, I don't really care too much. Like when they race swap a white character to make them black, it is what it is. Like when they did it for Fantastic Four and Thor and Kid Flash, they made him in the comics first, and then they kind of brought him big to the big screen. But just like, all right, cool. So sometimes they just do it for random characters. That don't really bother me. Tim Burton did it in the '80s with Two Face. He didn't even become Two Face in the movie. He was staying Harvey Dent. I think they kind of teased it at the end and whatever, went nowhere. So this was done like in the late '80s, early '90s to get more black people in front of the screen. And, well, I don't think it was any kind of real altruism. It was just to, like, get more black people interested, and it worked. I mean, sometimes I would go see a movie, watch TV show because this character was race swapped. Like case in point, Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, even though he was in the comic was a race swapped him again in the Ultimate Universe, but having Samuel L. Jackson, it just transcends the race at that point because Samuel L. Jackson's such a good actor, and I think they had, I think Hercules played him or something. I don't remember one of them. No, it was Hasselhoff. He played him in like a TV movie, or whatever. But that's beside the point. But it's always an issue when it's a white character being race swapped for a black character. It's never a big of an issue when it's like a black character or a character of color being swapped for a white one, which is like happened since the beginning of media, not since the beginning of time. All know the race swap that broke the world and whatever, that the Little Mermaid and Haley Bailey. But this one I didn't care too much about, but she's an amazing singer, and I don't know how many young actors, white actors, would have been able to hit them notes in that movie. The original voice actor for Little Mermaid, she's older now, so she couldn't have played it, but she killed it. But like I said, and when it's black to white, it's not an issue. Like we got Wanted, Angelina Jolie, a white woman, played Fox. In the comic book, Fox is black. Dragon Ball Z, the movie, Goku was played by a white actor. Johansson did it in Ghost in the Shell. Jake Gyllenhaal did it in Prince of Persia, the video game movie adaptation. Now I don't know what kind of last name Gyllenhaal is, but I know it ain't Persian. It's not even just fictional characters. They do it with historical figures, real people. Mighty Heart, the role that kind of made Angelina Jolie, kind of doing a lot, I guess, a more prominent actor is really the person's black. Well, the person's multicultural but presents black. They even made her hair kind of curly like her. That's where her hair is usually straight. If you see Angelina Jolie, to try to make her seem more ethnically ambiguous. Then we have Ben Affleck, who I like, actually like all these actors, but Ben Affleck, who made the movie Argo, playing Tony Mendez. Now I know Mendez can have some kind of connotation because after all, Spanish is a European language. We often forget that. But the real life Tony Mendez was a Hispanic man, a brown skinned man. White Boston actor Ben Affleck played him in a movie that he wrote and directed. I think he even got an Oscar for. This isn't a joke. They were going to have Julia Roberts play Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman. Like some white exec in the '90s was like, oh, this is a great story. Let's have the most famous woman in the world play her. A white woman at that. So this has been going on since, Hollywood's been around. This is the biggest thing. But I really want to point out one instance that really kind of got me when I was in my early 20s, around 2008. A movie came out called 21. It was a movie that came out in 2008 about a bunch of, I guess, geniuses or math geniuses in MIT and Harvard that came together and realized they can count cars and, take that their math knowledge and go to Vegas and casinos all around and count cars and make a lot of money. And we see we have Jim Sturgis, he starts his gym. Then we have Kevin Spacey, I forgot his name. And then Kate Bosworth. In the back there, kind of, well, the first guy back is a white man, but back there you see two Asian characters. Like I said, this really happened. And they race swap, let me see, 80% of the characters. The only really white person is Jane Willis. She was actually a white woman in there. Everything else, Jeff Ma, played by a white man. Michael Ponte, played by a white man. And John Chang, played by Kevin Spacey, a white man. They just completely whitewash the whole movie. And I really liked this movie. I thought it was a very interesting movie, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of dope. And my dumb self actually watched the making of the movie and didn't really think anything of it because honestly, I was more interested in the story than the actual characters. Jim Sturgis and Kevin Spacey, well, they're fine actors, but I was really interested in the story. You know, watching the making of the movie, you can kind of see where they're kind of coding some things. All right, see if you can catch on kind of the clever wording they use to describe the character.
And, you know, people were like, oh, well, he's from England and you want an all-American boy.
And then we got this clip.
We looked everywhere for Ben. I mean, I wanted someone fresh, not exposed.
So I say and show all of that just to show all how the hypocrisy is. I mean, look, they got these two men together. I mean, I guess their hair is kind of similar, but that's it. I mean, and I don't want to reinforce the, you know, the model minority stereotype amongst Asian people, but it's a true story. They were really smart at math. They were really good at math, and they went in and they made a lot of money playing blackjack by counting cards. It is what it is. And they made the movie, and they made everybody in there white, pretty much, except for two characters who was like just barely there. And let's not forget the ultimate race swap. So it's like the whole race swapping thing is a complex issue. Even however long this video will end up being, it's not. I can barely touch the surface of it. But really, it's just the hypocrisy behind it that really bothers me. And it's like you got all these pundits going around. You got the pro pundits, the anti pundits. You got people trying to make a name, people trying to make a hot take off everything, and it's like really annoying. You got black people saying, oh, no, don't do that. Keep them white. You got white people saying, no, don't do that. Keep them white. And, you know, all this other stuff. I mean, let's not to get too deep in the weeds, but, like, yo, it all has to do with colonialism, colorism. Like, like I said, it's a very in-depth, deep topic with a lot of emotional scars with it and a lot of things that involve self-hate, capitalism. All these things are all-encompassing. And I don't know if I had the bandwidth or even the knowledge or talent to actually properly contextualize all that. It's a really big thing. But I say that because so they race swapped Amber and Invincible, and really it's not that big of a deal. They race swapped Invincible. He's part Korean in the show, so it's not a really big deal. But of course, you know, everybody, all the purists had an issue with her being race swapped. But Amber, as the comments go along, is not really that big of a character, so I wasn't really tripping. They race swapped her pro or against. It's like whatever. But I hope they don't continue with the storyline now because she has a black boyfriend, and as you know, you're familiar with the comics, you know what's happening to her, so don't reinforce that stereotype. So that race swap was neither here nor there. But Thragg, you gotta make him black. You got to. I'm sorry. His geometry is just too on point. None of the other Viltrumites geometry is like that. I mean, the only black Viltrumite is Vulcan, and he's bald. I mean, just look at it. Like he's him. They even got memes about it. Like his geometry stays on point throughout the whole comic book. Even when I first saw him, I thought, is he black? Especially right here. This is a panel straight from the comic book. I mean, I guess he's playing with light or whatever, but he looks black right there. He even got Battle Beast dripped on him. You know, spoiler alert if you haven't read the comic books, but yo, he needs to be black. I'm sorry. Now, I know there's a theory out there that Thragg was based off Freddie Mercury. I haven't found any evidence of Robert Kirkman actually confirming that, but this ain't Thragg. That's Freddie Mercury. So that's an actual depiction of how he would look. So I don't think so, in my opinion. So just race swap that one last character, make Thragg black. I mean, you know, you don't really have a lot of black villains in media. We always got to play the magical Negro or the hero or whatever. Make him a villain. You can even kind of flip that whole imperialism thing. You know, you got the black character trying to be an imperialist with the Viltrumites trying to take over the galaxy and stuff like that. Play it up. Make the racists happy. You know, oh look, he got a black guy that made him evil, and he's trying to take over the galaxy and do what Europeans done to the whole galaxy. Do that. Lean into it. I don't care. Make him black. His hairline is too crisp. His hairline is too crisp.